Zach hit us up with this question. With the addition of OU and Texas, the SEC is likely moving to 3 permanent opponents. What rivalries do you think will be maintained yearly, and which ones will have to be played every other year? Zach is right, and we are quickly about to move to a format in the SEC, or at least it is thought that we're moving to a format that is 3-6-6. And all that means is you're going to play 9 conference games a year. That's the first thing it means. The second thing is 3-6-6 just stands for, the first number is you play those teams every year. Those are 3 permanent rivals. And then the 6-6 means you play half a dozen teams one year, and the half dozen you don't play that year, you'll play them the next year. So in some shape, form, or fashion, you're playing every team in the conference every 24 months. You will have played the entire conference over a rolling 2-year period. But that 3 number is what people are focused on, because that means you're going to play those teams every year. And as you can imagine, this hitting pro ball, not everyone's created equally down here. God bless Vanderbilt. We could throw a rock and hit their campus right now. I think you'd probably rather draw them as an annual opponent than, say, LSU. So who's going to play who? Whomst is going to play whomst here. There have been many theories. I saw Brad Crawford the other day get the work out of the way so we didn't have to compile our own list here. And I'm just going to work off of what he suggested, because I scanned it. It's on 247sports.com. I scanned it, and it was Brad saying, here's where we pretty much think the SEC is going to land on this whole scheduling format. If he's right, it sucks to be Auburn. And if he's right, it is a great day to be Arkansas. And if he's right, I got some thoughts. So with Auburn, it's just brutal. Just brutal. Some things never change. You got death, you got taxes, and you got Auburn being the toughest job in the SEC. So according to Bradford, and I have no reason to doubt that this is the way the SEC will go, Auburn's 3 permanent opponents will be Bama, Georgia, and LSU, which is just that's a splattering. Any given year, that's a splattering. Mind you, they're still drawing other teams. They're still going to randomly play Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida. All those fins are still out just offshore. Those are the 3 you're having to deal with in your boat every year. But at least the good news is Auburn doesn't lose any permanent rival. I don't know that they celebrate that, but that is, I would lay behind Greg Sankey's car in the SEC office parking lot in Birmingham if I were Hugh Freeze before I let this be permanent. That is brutal. As for Texas A&M, this is where we do lose a couple of rivalries. So Brad projected Texas, Oklahoma, and Mississippi State are the 3 permanents for Texas A&M. Now, that means you lose the A&M Arkansas matchup. That means you lose A&M LSU, which had become a feisty little rivalry lately. If I get A&M and Texas back, especially if you play it the day after Thanksgiving, or even on Thanksgiving for all I care, that is good news. We cannot just take and not have to give anything. But those are 2 rivalries you would lose. The Alabama side of the coin, you actually don't lose anything. Brad had Alabama play in Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. And if I were to pick out their 3 biggest rivalries in the SEC, Bama's biggest 3 rivalries are Auburn and Tennessee and LSU. And so you don't really lose anything. Now, on the flip side, everybody views Bama as a rival. Like Arkansas or Ole Miss or Mississippi State, they view Alabama as a rival. If you live in St. Paul, Minnesota, you don't think of Mississippi State, Alabama as a rivalry. So with Bama, yeah, if you've got Tennessee, Auburn, LSU, that's good. As for Arkansas, there has been I'm not going to call it a conspiracy theory. I'm not going to call it a theory. It's just been a fact. The SEC has backhanded the University of Arkansas at every given opportunity. And if the projections we're looking at on our screen right now are true, this would be a much welcome turning of the page when it comes to relations between Birmingham and Fayetteville. Because if Arkansas's 3 permanent opponents in this new format are Texas, Mississippi State, and Missouri, Arkansas cashed in. That means you don't get A&M every year. That means you don't get Bama every year or LSU every year. That's a good thing. So hold on. Go full Wilson Phillips mode up there. Hold on for one more year. Georgia, I can accept what Brad is suggesting here. There's one omission. So Florida, Auburn, and South Carolina, those are the three that Brad projects. I would love to have Georgia, Tennessee every year. I know I can't have everything I want, but I would love to have Georgia, Tennessee every year. Be that as it may, I do get to keep the Deep South's oldest rivalry there. I do get to keep, obviously, Florida, Georgia. So I'm okay with that. And Tennessee, also, there's a lot of conversation around which three teams Tennessee is going to play. Bama is going to be one of them. It won't move forward an inch if you're not playing Bama, Tennessee. So you got Bama, Tennessee, Tennessee, Florida, and Tennessee, Vandy. Again, I need to reiterate, this is not official. This is Brad Crawford's projection that I pretty much agree with. That means we don't have Tennessee, Georgia every year. That means we don't have Tennessee, Kentucky every year. Now, I saw some Tennessee fans, of course I did, arguing, oh no, we've got to play Kentucky every year. Tennessee, Kentucky, that's what college football revolves around. They wanted to trade out Bama. They wanted to play Kentucky every year instead of Bama. How brave. How brave from my brethren over there in East Tennessee. Credit you guys for stepping up. Give us Big Blue. Keep Crimson. Give us Big Blue. Football, basketball, in this economy, in any economy. I bet you guys did want it. You're not going to get that. You're going to have to play Bama. LSU, there are two rivalries, according to Brad, if this were to pass, that they're going to have to give up. LSU playing Auburn, Ole Miss, and Bama every year. That means I don't get LSU, Florida every year. That means I don't get LSU, Texas A&M every year. I'm not crazy about it. Look, here's what's happening. Whether they want to admit it or not, the SEC League office is taking their conference and they're pretty much splitting it. You got the top 8 and the bottom 8. And everyone knows that exists. You just can't say it out loud. Some programs are perennially better than other programs. But we've never decided a scheduling model where we admitted that up front. Now, it could be that that's irrelevant, or it could be that ESPN walks in the room, because I don't really think their voice has been fully weighted here yet. And ESPN could walk in the room and say, we're giving you $78 trillion, roughly, for the rights to broadcast your games exclusively, at least at the A tier. We want a say in how you format that schedule. Because while people at Missouri or people at South Carolina may be focused on competitive balance, we're not. We want entertainment. We want value. That's the balance we want to strike. Value. And so, you need to tell your top 8 teams in the conference to suck it up. They're going to play each other a little bit more than they're going to play the bottom 8. Does that sound fair? No, not necessarily. Is anyone going to cry crocodile tears that the University of Georgia has to play a tougher schedule? Probably not. Will we be better off for it? Well, in terms of entertainment, yes. I just think it's a little bit of a slippery slope. If we decide to walk up to the stone in front of us and etch 8 teams' names in one category and 8 in the other category, I know you guys don't think that this league could invert itself, and in some cases, you're right. I don't necessarily think Georgia's going anywhere for a while. I don't know what to make of Florida in the future. I don't know what to make of South Carolina in the future. I have no clue whether Tennessee's here to stay or not. I am just saying you need to leave yourself some wiggle room, would be my advice. I'm sure they haven't thought of that already. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure and leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.